Have you ever been in a loud, crowded place and struggled to hear someone speaking? You probably instinctively started to watch their lips to help you understand what they're saying. We all rely on lip reading more than we realized, but how does our brain actually do it? That is the focus of this study. The researchers wanted to know if our brains use the auditory areas, which usually process sound, to somehow fill in the missing speech sounds when we lip read, or if the visual system is doing more of the work. To test this, they asked the participant to watch 5 videos with sounds to familiarize themselves with the speaker's lip movements and the content of the speech. After this rehearsal phase was a testing phase, where they watched both the rehearsed videos and 5 new videos, all without sound. They had to identify specific target words and rate their understanding of each video. During the experiment, the researchers recorded the participants' brain activity using EEG while they watched the videos and tried to understand what was being said. They focused on the electrical activity recorded over the occipital scalp, which is where the visual cortex is located. They analyzed these brain signals to see if they could predict the patterns based on different visual features of the videos. They looked at basic lip movements, like how much the lips were moving vertically and horizontally, and something called visemes. Now, to understand the word viseme, V-I-S-E-M-E, you can think about the visual form of phoneme. So, visemes are groups of sounds that look alike on the lips, like p, m, b. But they are not simply lip movements, but the underlying categories of speech sounds. In other words, the brain is not just detecting physical motions but interpreting pat or bat based on the context, because they all give the viseme, right? The researchers wanted to know if the brain was just tracking simple lip movements or it was actually processing the visual information in a way that reflected linguistic units of speech. They found something pretty interesting. Brain activity in the visual cortex could reliably track these visemes even when the participants were only watching certain videos. This means that the brain was picking up on visual patterns associated with different speech sounds, even without any auditory input. In fact, they found that the brain activity was better at predicting visemes than lip movements, suggesting that it was going beyond processing the basic visual features and was actually extracting linguistic information from the silent speech. What's more, they found that rehearsal, that is practicing lip reading beforehand with auditory and visual input, made the brain even better at tracking visemes. And the better the participants' brain were at tracking the visemes, the better they were at lip reading overall. This suggests that the brain can actually learn to become more sensitive to the visual cues of speech, and that this learning is reflected in the neural activity in the visual cortex. To make sure that they were really isolating brain activity related to visemes and not just any general motion of the screen, the researchers used one technique called partialing. This allowed them to statistically remove the brain activity that could be explained by other visual features like motion flow, meaning the overall movements of the video. But even after that removal, they still found the strong signal to visemes, and this signal was enhanced by rehearsal. So this research provides evidence that visual cortex plays a crucial role in lip reading, and it seems like it can actually learn to process language visually. This research challenges the idea that lip reading depends mainly on the auditory cortex, and the auditory cortex tries to recreate the missing sound, which is not true. Instead, this research highlights a visual system capacity for sophisticated linguistic processing, emphasizing the interplay of our senses, at least just auditory and visual, in making sense of spoken language.